Hello, welcome back to the Spiritology television network. I am gonna talk a little bit more, elaborate a little bit more about the subject matter of a previous video called "The Power of Choice." Um, this is kind of like the first time I ever did a sequel, if you will, but I just thought it needed a little bit more, to be touched upon a little bit more. Um, Before you watch this, I think it would be beneficial if you go back and watch the first video. It's just a few minutes long, and it talks about my opinions about the power of choice and my experiences with it, and that I'm not so sure that we have it uh, to the level that we think we do. And I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit more. But to give you a little bit of groundwork, if you can go back and watch that previous video of the power of choice, then that'll lead you nicely into what I'm about to say now. But in the previous video, I said to myself, or I said to my personal ideas about the power of choice is that I'm not sure if we have it per se. I know it appears that we do. I mean, I can go to a store and see a rack of shirts, and I think to myself, okay, I can either have this blue shirt or this green shirt. Which one do I want? And then I picked the blue shirt. I chose it, basically. But now I'm not so sure because I get the impression that everything is preordained. Even the most minute choice, like me picking a blue shirt over a green shirt. I mean, I think we have one or two choices, and it's either to follow heaven or be led by the earth. And everything else, it's as if we're like robotic creatures. Now, I'm going to reference the Bible a little bit because if you think about it, if you think about Adam and Eve, uh, if you think about Cain and Abel, that was a pretty intense situation with Cain and Abel. Cain was pretty upset that God rejected his offering, and God told him, hey, why are you so angry? Is your face so dark with rage? I mean, you'll be accepted if you do well. Okay, so what does that mean? You'll be accepted if you do well. That kind of gives the impression that Cain had a choice. And maybe he did at that time, I don't know. But you think about Cain and Abel, you think about Noah, and all these other different people, these characters throughout the Bible. You think about Samson. He was one of my favorites because he did some mighty works. I'm kind of a action adventure type guy. I like those kind of movies and adventures and whatnot. And Samson was pretty daring, so to speak. Um, and you think about how strong he was. I mean, he was, I think to myself, Samson must have had some serious guns, kind of like mine. That's just a joke. But anyway, but if you think about all these characters, in the Bible, even the Messiah, the choice was either do or die. And what does that mean? I mean, do God's will or you suffer the consequences. You suffer and then you perish. So, and then you have so many people that are suffering. It's like, why would you make a decision to suffer? Is it preordained that these people have to suffer unto death? It even says in the Bible that the vast majority will not only suffer, but they will go down into the pit. It says that. It's predicting that somewhere, who knows, perhaps centuries or millennia down the road, that most souls will remain separated from God. Only a few that the Bible terms the elect of God will have made the right choice or will have been chosen. I mean, it does say that God does the choosing, the chosen elect. That's what that implies. So it makes me think it's all preordained. And then that brings up the age old question: what's the point of putting all these people on earth? They're going through hell on earth, and then they got to go suffer an alternative hell after they pass away from this earth and suffer forever. What is that about? Do we really have the power of choice? It would be nice if we did, because, as I kind of touched upon a little bit in the previous video, we're pretty reactionary. It's like you're driving along, you're going to work, you get up in the morning and you do your thing, your routine, you get dressed, you go to work, somebody cuts you off while you're driving and you react. Before you can even think about it, it's like you didn't have a choice, you react. I know psychology talks about mental conditioning and conditioned response and whatnot, but I mean, how does that truly work? How does that truly happen to where you just, boom, you react and you're in a fit of rage or something like that? And I know they say outside stimuli, psychological buttons, but come on, how does that really react? How does that really work? If buttons are being pushed, call them psychological buttons or whatever, but if buttons are being pushed and we're going into triggered responses because certain buttons are being pushed, mental or emotional, I don't know. That's like a robot or a machine. That don't really give much merit to having a power of choice. And like I said just a little while ago, uh, God requires you to do his will. I suppose you have a choice not to, but that's what God says. God says, hey, it's my way or the highway. if that's the truth, then do we really have a power of choice? Something to think about. I'd like to know what you think. Nevertheless, anyway, appreciate you listening. Uh, and I'd like you to subscribe to the Spiritology Television Network. And also, here's my book. Let's see. The Power of Spiritology. Can you see that? Sorry, I'm not. It's backwards. Anyway, the book is called The Power of Spiritology, and it's by Dario Thomas. It's available, it's on sale at Amazon.com. I mean, you can go to other book venues like Book People or, these bookstores, and you can purchase it online through these different book venues as well. But check it out and subscribe. Spiritology Television Network. And I'd love to know what you think about this whole power of choice thing. Do we have it? Or is everything preordained? Anyway, thank you for listening.